Did you know fermentation has been used for thousands of years to preserve food and create deliciously unique flavors? We're putting the sour in sourdough and the so back into miso because it's going to be a good one. There are plenty of things you eat I bet you didn't even know were fermented. If I name something you didn't know, I would love for you to drop it in the comments. So stick around to find out the who's, what's, and how's of fermentation. What is fermentation in the first place? Fermentation is like a bustling party inside a jar. But instead of your best buddies, it's full of tiny organisms called bacteria or yeast. These little guys are super special and have the power to transform sugars into acids or gases. Here's how it all goes down. When you put food into a jar for fermentation, you're giving these organisms a feast. They gobble up the sugars in the food, and as a result, they produce different compounds like lactic acid and carbon dioxide. It might sound a bit gross, but it's actually really cool. The acids and gases they create not only give the food a unique taste, like the tangy flavor of pickles or the bubbles in soda, they also act like natural preservatives, keeping the food safe to eat for longer periods. So when you open that jar after a while, you'll find your food has transformed into something delicious and tangy, all thanks to the hard work of microscopic organisms. The best part? You can easily do it from home with just a few simple ingredients and some patience. Now let's address some common misconceptions about fermentation and why some people might be a little hesitant to try it at home. Fermentation might sound like a fancy science experiment, but it's really just a natural process where tiny organisms called bacteria are doing all the work turning the sugars into acids, gases, or alcohol. People get scared because they think fermentation means things will go bad, get spoiled, and stink up the place. But fermentation can actually preserve food and make it tastier. You might get worried that it might be too hard or dangerous to try at home. But as long as you follow simple rules like keeping things clean and using the right ingredients, it's safe and can be a lot of fun. Alright, let's roll up our sleeves and dig deeper into the science. First up, let's talk about a special type called lactic acid bacteria. These bacteria love to chow down on sugars, and as they munch away, they produce lactic acid as a byproduct. This acid gives fermented foods their signature tangy flavor and creates an acidic environment that's not too cozy for harmful bacteria, which keeps the food safe to eat. Now let's not forget about yeast. Yeasts are like little factories that turn sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. This is how we get fizzy drinks and alcoholic beverages through fermentation. But what's even cooler is these bacteria and yeasts are all around us, even on the surfaces of the foods we eat. When we create the right conditions by sealing food in a jar or mixing it with a little salt, it gives these organisms the perfect environment to do their thing. So when you see bubbles forming in your jar, or taste that tang of your sauerkraut, you're witnessing the magic of fermentation powered by these amazing bacteria and yeasts. And not only are they making our food taste great, but they're also helping to keep it safe and healthy to eat. These microscopic helpers are the real stars transforming basic ingredients into flavorsome preserved foods through their metabolic processes. Now let's drop into the wonderful world of fermented foods and beverages, from the spicy, tangy crunch of kimchi, made with cabbage and radishes, as well as chili peppers and fresh ginger, packed with probiotics that improve your gut health. The deep flavors of sauerkraut is what happens when salt breaks down the sugars in cabbage over the course of time, giving you that distinct sour smell and taste most people love. The fizzy zest of kombucha comes from bacteria and yeast working together to gobble up the sugar in your sweetened tea, helping to produce that slight fizzy tang. And the creamy texture of kefir comes together by adding kefir grains to milk, kicking up a fermenting masterpiece similar to yogurt, just slightly thinner. Each of these can offer a unique taste and a glimpse into different cultures' culinary traditions.